It's all about Major League Baseball. Like I said, until the playoffs come, ignore the NBA, because the only strong stuff is the stuff that comes in late during the day. Like yesterday, I got a Knicks play over, sent that out to subscribers. I knew that's legit because those are information based. Otherwise, they're betting overnights because they could move the market for small limits. You'll see the totals. They all move 2, 3, 4, 5 points, and then they come back the other way and set up middle. So be real careful betting NBA until the playoffs get here. It's all about Major League Baseball. Here's what they did. Overnights, 902, under 7.5, up to -120, St. Louis and Pittsburgh. You'll see 7 across the board right now. Excuse me, under 7, -120, 125. You'll see 6.5 or 6s across the board right now because they took out the 7s, didn't continue betting it once it moved. Same thing. Remember what I talked about, 7, 9, and 11. Those are the totals you want to get on the right side of. 904, under 7.5, -125, up to -125, Dodgers, Washington. Got the 7, they backed off. Did the same thing with Miami and the Mets, game 906. Under 7.5, all the way good to -130 they were willing to accept, but not under 7. They wanted 7.5. And finally, another overnight, San Francisco, -115, -120. No follow through today. A team that did get follow through was the Boston Red Sox, laying the 175, laying the 180, and laying 185 again today. So it's a myth out there that the wise guys, the sharp bettors, the winners don't lay chalk in baseball. They do so all the time, every single day, but they're very selective when they do it. They follow up with a lot of dogs like 913, White Sox, +175, 921, Minnesota, +115, Minnesota, +120. And if you look at the line move on Odds Logic, you'll notice they dummied up Kansas City a little bit, took 1 or 2 limit bets, got it up to where it's a nice price, then came in and blasted Minnesota at plus money. Same thing with Seattle. Seattle at even money, Seattle at -105, Seattle at -110. Finally, another one would follow through, Baltimore. Baltimore +110. Then again, I got it this morning at Baltimore +105. If they can get plus money on Baltimore, they're willing to take the bet. They think it's a coin flip at worst. And finally, the Athletics. I don't know if they're from Oakland. I don't know if they're from Sacramento, soon to be Las Vegas. Took the 130, took the 125. That happened this morning. Last night, they went under 8.5, up to -115. But at 8, they did not bet it. So again, you got to remember, numbers are everything. And once the number moves away from you, sometimes don't bet it. Sit back, wait for the next big bet. Always try to bet from a position of strength.
Yeah, I want to look at it more from a total perspective than the side because, neither one of these teams necessarily has too much to play for. The Knicks do still need to win one more game to stay locked into their 4th seed, I believe. But I'll look at the total because I'm just looking at how these teams have been playing lately. Last 5 games, Celtics are playing the slowest pace in the league. Knicks not far behind them at 25th, top 5 defensive rated team in that span. And you just look at the Knicks. I mean, they've gone under in 5 straight games. They're locked in on that defensive side of the ball. The Celtics, they're so far ahead of the next person in the standings. I am unsure how much effort you're going to get. I'm unsure how many people are going to play. The entire starting 5 is questionable for tonight, and they have a game tomorrow. So I could see some of those guys getting ruled out. I could see a situation where if Boston mails it in early and saves some energy for tomorrow, just everything lines up for me looking towards the under. It's gone under, I believe, it went under the last meeting. And then also I'll share this query. Looking at after All-Star break, 2 elite teams, and when I say that, is greater than 60% win teams, division teams, one off 5 straight unders. They're about 74% to the under the last 24 years. So Celtics and Knicks under 222. It's already down from 223.5. I think it's moving in the right direction. Yeah, the Suns have, they given up a while ago. Probably especially when Kevin Durant went down. And they're 2.5 games out of the playoffs. They're done. They've been playing absolutely no defense. If we just look at that, let's take a look at opponents' team totals without Durant in the lineup for Phoenix. They've gone over 14 out of 16 games. The last 6 games for Phoenix, you kind of mentioned some of those blowouts. They're allowing 128.6 points per game. They're just simply not even trying on the defensive end. Like I said, they've been the worst in the league. Not only is KD a great offensive player, but he's lengthy. He's a good defender too. And you look at this Warriors team, they're coming off of a really bad offensive night, and now they face a team that struggles to defend the 3-point line. I can see Steph Curry lighting them up. I think this is a game where you go Golden State team total over 118.5. Phoenix has allowed 122 plus 5 of those last 6 without Durant. I think Golden State names their number tonight.
I think it's the same type of handicap. You just maybe look at different metrics. Like you said, some teams might rest guys sooner now because they've locked up certain playoff spots, where other teams will continue to play hard. I do think, it's an adage in sports that must-win teams are very overrated. I always say this in the NFL in December. If you blindly play teams out of the playoffs against teams that must win in the NFL, you've made money in December for decades. There's a few reasons why. First of all, the line is usually inflated several points for the need. And I've always said if a team is as good enough as they need to be to win when they have to be, they wouldn't be in a must-win situation. With that said, NBA is a little bit different than the NFL because you can pretty much be assured that those teams that have to win to get in are going to probably play their A lineup and play whoever they can. So, once again, you're reading between the lines. A lot of times I wait until 2 or 3 Eastern to release my NBA plays. I think this season has been trickier than ever. I'll be honest. I can't wait for the playoffs to begin because hopefully this load management crap will end at that point. But look at the lineup tonight, 10 games on the board, and 3 of them we have at least, actually 4 of them we have a 14-point favorite or more in 40% of the games tonight. That's just the modern NBA, and it's just been crazy. Yeah, Lakers look like they're not taking this game serious, right? And that's what I was just talking about. Yeah. Doncic questionable, but when you see Bronny, LeBron, all those other names, all these guys questionable, Austin Reeves questionable, makes you wonder if they're going to show up or not tonight. And keep in mind, they were at 8.5-point underdog in that game on Sunday, and they won by 27 at OKC. That was the go-get-'em game, in my opinion. Lakers aren't going to beat them back-to-back games in OKC. They know that. So if you're not going to win the game, they don't care about covering, right? Straight-up wins all they care about.
Yeah. I
would be surprised if any of those guys play. They're all listed as questionable as of 12:30 Eastern. I don't expect it, and the betting market sure doesn't either. This line opened 8.5, which is what the Sunday line was, and it's now 15.5. It's steaming higher as we do it live here on WagerTalk TV. If you're going to play it, you better lay it. Yes, you're paying a premium, but do you really want to get in front of, as you said, the best NBA team off back-to-back losses? And to put that in perspective, it's not like something's broken with the Thunder. They'd won 11 in a row and went 10-1 against the spread the previous 11 before the back-to-back losses at Houston, a very good Houston team, and a dangerous Lakers team. If you're going to play it, you're laying it tonight with the 15.5 with the Thunder. Yeah, I'm seeing Valdez listed for Houston. Wanted to get some confirmation on that. Castillo expected to go for Seattle tonight. This is the late game at 9:40 Eastern. And we have seen some money come in on Seattle. I think now that it looks like Valdez is going. The Astros overnight opened as about a $1.15 favorite. They're now an underdog. Houston's about a $1.15, $1.20 home favorite. I agree with that sharp money move. As you said, should be a low-scoring game with the under 7 here. 2 teams, mediocre current form, but I think Castillo holds the edge in this one. And I look for him to have a nice outing here. 2 starts this season. He's given up just 4 earned runs in 12 innings. And once again, I want to get confirmation on the Astros, but it looks like it might be Valdez. Either way, I like Seattle here. I agree with the sharp money move as a small favorite. Lay the -120 with the Astros and Castillo tonight on Tuesday.
I got some stats that are going to blow you away here. Dustin Johnson has 1 top 20 finish on Live Tour this year. Whereas this is a field with like 55, 56 golfers, and he's not making the top 20. He's openly said he doesn't practice as much. He looks completely out of shape compared to where he was years ago on the PGA Tour. Missed cut and 48th the last 2 years at the Masters. This is a former winner not too long ago. He just kind of lost the edge here a little bit. Horschel's playing pretty good. 2 top 10 finishes, including 4th place the last tournament. But here's the dagger in this play here, Press. This year, Billy Horschel is plus 0.97 total strokes gained on the PGA Tour. Okay? Dustin Johnson is minus 0.41 total strokes gained on the Live Tour. On those cupcake courses, he's not even plus total strokes gained. Billy Horschel over Dustin Johnson. I'm looking to fade some of these Live guys. DJ's at the top of that list. I'll take Horschel over DJ. We're going back to Rudy Gobert over 12.5 points. We talked about him last week. He's flown over this total easily, gone over in 7 straight games, averaging 17 points in those 7 games. He's getting 11 shot attempts per game, and because his shots are at the rim, he's shooting 71.6% from the field. He's adding 3 points per game from free throws. Milwaukee gives up 21.5 points per game to centers, and Gobert had 20 points in February against Milwaukee. That was a game Brook Lopez played center. Lopez, not the defensive guy he was years ago. He's playing again tonight. Look for Gobert to have a good game. And then you can get Jandaroba minus 155 right now over Yan Xiaonan. Winner probably gets a title shot. This is all about the wrestling here, Prez. Jandiroba, nonstop chain wrestling. Jan Janan has a really good reach, but Jandiroba is going to get through that reach. And once she gets Jan on the ground, we've seen Jan struggle against Weili Zhang in her last fight. And Tabitha Ricci really let Jan Janan off the hook. She didn't try to wrestle Jan at all. That's her weakness. Jandiroba is not going to screw around. She's going to get this ground. It's going to be a boring fight once Jandiroba gets it to the ground, but I like her to win by decision. You're minus 155. That line's already moving. I expect this to be minus 200 by the time it gets closer to fight time. So Jandiroba, not an exciting fight, but she's going to win by decision.
But with that said, we're here to talk PSG and Aston Villa. This is a game that goes tomorrow. It's the quarterfinal stages, and these are Leg 1 games with the reverse fixtures going next week. PSG opened up, and they're sitting at about 266. I think they're the biggest favorite on the board right now across the 4 games. Aston Villa almost plus 7-1, 678. The draw here is plus 419. Total sits here at 3, shaded to the over 25 cents. I'm going to look at a couple different plays in this game because laying that much vig on a 3-way line is tough. On a 2-way line, it's a little different, but on a 3-way line, it is much more different. One that I really like is if you like the total in this game, and I think there's going to be some goals in this game. I think PSG are one of the favorites to win this tournament. I really like them. And a great setup for them as well, too, should they get by Aston Villa, who are a bit of a surprise to be here at this point in this tournament. But you can get, and this is over at DK, you can get PSG to win and over 2.5 goals at minus 120. So instead of laying 25 cents on the over 3 and possibly that landing on 3 and you getting a push, you would get a win. PSG is going to win this game. Absent of some red card or some change, PSG is by far the better team between these two. And another prop that I really like in this one is a goal scorer's prop. Ousmane Dembele for PSG. I love the season this guy is having. 26 games in League One. He scored 21 goals, assisted on 5 others. And in Champions League thus far this season, 10 games, he scored 7 times. He's having a phenomenal season, not only in domestic league play, but in Champions League as one of the leading goal scorers. And I think he's a big part of the game tomorrow. So he is plus 100 for any time goal. You can get probably about plus 500 to have him score the first goal, but an anytime goal is good enough for me. Ousmane Dembele to score even money, and PSG to win and over 2.5. And you can find that, like I said, at DK and some other books as well too, under the game parlays